Hello everyone, my name is Jay Mauder and welcome back to Woodpeckers Model Shop. Today we're going to make a holder for the AutoScale miter sled that attaches directly to your table saw. I designed this thing a few months ago and I have it at my shop at home and I really love it. It's awesome. So this is designed for a saw stop PCS. The overall dimensions are 27 by 30 and you can adapt this to any table saw. Just make the width the same depth as your table saw. This one's 27 inches, so that's why I built it this way. Anyways, there's a cut list down below. Everything that you need to know on how to build this thing is linked directly below. All right, enough talking, let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is nail on one of these 2-inch wide strips on both sides. But before we put any nails in, we need to know where the mounting locations are going to be so we don't put a nail where we are eventually going to put a bolt. So I made this little jig to match these holes right here, and I will show you exactly how I made this jig later on in the video when we go to drill the holes to actually mount the thing. Okay, so I went ahead and I marked out the hole locations on my 2-inch strips that are going to go on the top. And we're going to place these on this backboard that is 27 inches by 30 inches. And we're going to line them up to the top and just avoid the holes for where we're going to put nails. All right. Now that we got the first layer done, let's go ahead and add the second layer. And we're just building this with brad nails at the moment. We will secure everything later with some longer screws. All right, so now this is the top part of our holder. We can now move down to the bottom part. And we don't have to be as meticulous with our nail placement because there's not going to be any bolts going through the bottom, so you can kind of put nails anywhere. So now we're going to put in some stops for the drop zone so that when this thing slides in, it has a stop. So the handle still will stay exposed, so you can just grab it and slide it out. All right, I have a top part of the holder facing me. And so we're going to want to put this on the left side. I'm pushing this in until the handle has about a 1/4 inch of space right there so that we can easily grab it. So that's going to stay right there. And now we can just put our spacer right up here. And we're going to put 2 layers of these 2-inch strips right in here. All right, so now we just got to add the second strip. Okay, so now we got our stop in there. Everything's good, so we are ready to go on to our next layer. So next, we're going to put a piece on top of here that is the same dimensions as our back. It's 27 by 30. Set this up here. Remember, this is our top. So now we'll grab our jig and mark out our hole locations again so we don't put any brad nails where we're gonna have our bolts. So now with that marked out, we just need to line up all the sides, make sure everything looks good. Once you got it all lined up, add some more brad nails. Now we're gonna go over to the bottom. Okay, so now we can move on to the next layer where we have to build it up and leave a gap so we can place our AutoScale miter sled on here. So I designed this to work with the left-sided AutoScale miter sled. So I have a 6.5 inch wide piece here and a 19.5 inch wide piece here. And so you'll see how that channel right there, it leaves space for the miter bar to drop in. Now, if you have a right-sided one instead of a left, the only thing you do differently at this step is you swap these two like this. But your drop zone will still remain over here. Anyways, mine's a left-sided one, so let's put it back where it goes. And we're going to line up the corners. I already marked out where my hole locations are, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to line this up at the edge and nail it in. Now we just have to align our 19.5-inch wide piece with this left edge over here. Okay, so now you can kind of get the idea of what we're going for. This is the top, this is the bottom, and this side will be facing you on the saw so you can pull this out. Now what we have to do is add two 2-inch wide strips right here, and then we're going to put one up here. Okay, so we're almost done building this thing. Last part, one of the last parts, is we got to add a piece that's 6 7/8 of an inch wide. Okay, and so what that strip is for, I'm going to show you real quick. Pop in the AutoScale miter sled. So that brings that up to the same level as this. So in a later step, we're going to add this arm so that it comes down and locks this into place so it won't fall off. Okay, so the last step before we drill these big holes and actually mount this thing on the table saw, we are going to just put some 2.5-inch long screws. Avoid the holes, but we're going to put some 2.5-inch long screws in here just to tie everything together. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this up here. I'm going to come in from the back side, and we'll do the same thing on the bottom. All right, now we're ready to mount this thing on the saw. We just need to get our hole locations. So let's head over to the table saw, and I'm going to show you guys how we can get those marked out. Okay, so to transfer these hole locations, all we're going to need is some tape, green tape here. Peel off enough so it extends over the edges. And take your time here. Be careful and line it up. This bottom layer doesn't really matter as much. You can kind of just slap it on there a little bit. Now with that all on there, we can find our holes. Now there's two holes here on the saw stop. There's one down here. You're going to want the one up top. But anyways, just press your thumb in there and that'll outline exactly where the hole is. And now you know exactly where your holes are at. So the next part, grab a center punch and just eyeball the center of that hole. Line it up and just poke through. The last step we need to do is just cut this tape off flush with the end of your saw so that these are going to line up good. And then mark top so you don't get mixed around. All right, so now we got our hole locations and we can transfer this over to our holder. So we're just going to peel that off. Line it up with the edge. All right, so there's our hole locations right there. We're just going to transfer them over to the wood with a punch. Now we are free to remove our tape. And we're all good. We got our hole locations all marked out. So now we're just going to set up the AutoLine drill guide and get these holes drilled all the way through. Okay, before I set up the AutoLine drill guide, just want to let you guys know, use a drill bit that's a little bigger than the hole that you're going to drill through, so that way you have some wiggle room in case everything doesn't line up perfectly. This drill bit is 15-30 seconds. Okay, I got the AutoLine drill guide all set up. Before I get started drilling, I put a sacrificial piece down here. I just brad nailed it in so that when the hole goes through, it comes out clean. Second thing I did was I set my stop on the AutoLine drill guide, so it's going to go through that last piece down here. And then we set up the fence so that it's going to line up perfectly with our holes that we marked out. All right, and our holes are all drilled. Now we can go ahead and get this thing mounted on the table saw. All right, we're ready to mount this thing, but first let's go over the hardware you're gonna need. You need 4, they're called hex screws. These flat washers, 3/8 of an inch, you need 8 of those. 3/8 lock washer, need 4 of those. And a 3/8 nut, need 4 of those. All right, so we went ahead and just mounted one corner so we can make this demonstration go a little easier. But first I'm gonna take my hex screws, put a flat washer on there, lean this up, put this through this hole, and then from the back, we're gonna add on a flat washer first, and then a lock washer, and then the nut. All right, everything lines up good. I'm gonna install these other 2, and then after that, we're gonna go ahead and level it out to make it perfectly flush with the table saw. All right, everything's loosely installed. I'm just gonna level this out real quick, and then we will do the finishing touches, and it'll be all done. So now we can drop in our drop zone, which goes right here. Next, we plop on our AutoScale. Just gonna go right there. All right, just the finishing touches. We gotta put these little arms on here because this is gonna come over and prevent that thing from falling off. If you're wondering how I made this thing, all I did was trace this shape onto a piece of MDF. I cut it out, and then I made a little template to make these. So I'm just going to attach this with 1 1/4 inch screws. All right, works good. Now we just got to put this little piece in here. All right, so now you got a quick and easy place to store your AutoScale miter sled. And when you need it, just plop it right up there. And you're good to go. And now, whenever you're done, just put it away right where you need it. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I really hope you guys enjoyed this build of this holder for the AutoScale miter sled. I had a lot of fun making it. I have it in my own shop at home, and it really just clears up space and makes this thing super convenient to use. I like it a lot. If you want to learn more about the AutoScale miter sled, there's links to the deep dive videos, and the product videos are right over here. If you want to know how we built this thing, the hardware we used, everything you need to know is right down in the description below. Go ahead and please like this video, comment down below your thoughts, and go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It'd mean a lot to us. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.